This is Phantom Electric Ghost with my alter ego, Josephine Electric, talking about sexual abandoned love. This episode is all about busting walls down and the Effluent of LUV. As always, this is an explicit episode. What we really got into in this episode is heavy use of the Make Noise morphogene, which is a Eurorack sampler that we picked up last year. And it's in our Eurorack from Arturia, the 6U. And in that Eurorack, we've got Moog Mother 32, a Moog drummer from another Mountain Mother, a DFAM. And we've also got a math utility module for Make Noise, which allows you to do additional LFOs. You can have 2 additional LFOs. You can do all kinds of logarithmic and exponential processing of the signal. It basically gives you like a CPU or central control mechanism or utility module for your Eurorack. So you can take in your VCA signals, modify them, kick them back out, actually bring them back in, do all kinds of manipulation, lengthen delays and LFOs and all kinds of interesting stuff. Create portamentos, all kind of interesting, modulation. It gives you additional modulation points in your synth. So you can, if you've got the drum machine like the drummer from another mother, you can extend through the LFOs and the delays, the beat, and change the beat. So one of the limitations of a DFAM, which is kind of cool, is it only has 8 steps. Like most drum machines that do 16 or 32 or 64, you only have 8. But you can play with the tempo, you can play with the CV connections and alter the capability. You can bring a DFAM into a grandmother and then use the 256 step sequencer to extend it beyond the 8. You can do all kinds of interesting things. Even with the Mother 32, you can add an LFO into it. With our Arturia Mainbrew 2S, we can add 2 LFOs into it. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. But one of the cool things back to the morphogene is we like to sample ourselves. And what we did in a bunch of these songs is we took the Teenage Engineering OPZ, created a drum beat, created actually a sequence on that. It's awesome sequencer. Then sampled it into the morphogene. And then once we brought it into the morphogene, we altered it. We used the morph capability, which allows you to take the beginning or the middle or any point in the song and make it happen simultaneously in real time with the other parts. And so we use that to create a beat. We kind of clipped it. You can splice and use the gene and gene size to create unique samples, and you can create looping through CV controlled looping of the splices or the genes. You can have them go on a repeat cycle by using the CV. So it's a very kind of feel oriented sampler. You don't have a physical grid. You're doing it by like what you hear is what you get, which is to me a good way of production. Because if you're on the grid, you get too anal. If you're in this world where you just have colors, like a morphogene just uses colors. If it gets into the green, it's the original speed. If it gets into other colors, it slows down or speeds up. So by the color control, you get this color variation that tells you, and then you hear it, and you go by what you hear. And when you hear what you want, you use that. And it's the same thing what I do with my hardware workflow. I don't use a DAW. I use an R24 digital recorder that takes in 1/4-inch signals. I use an MX1 performance mixer to catch my USB audio and my 1/4-inch audio, bring it into the Zoom, and then I'm able to get exactly what I want from all my analog synths and record it and overdub exactly the way I hear it. And I do have an ability to run effects or not run effects, or run protocols for reverbs and different things I can do, choruses and stuff, or I can just play it with no effects. And it allows me to do all kinds of manipulation. So in the Sexual Abandoned Love, it's using an OPZ song that we brought in, like I said, through the morphogene. We altered it. We used the same sample on Wall Bust Down. Wall Bust Down, it's running at a different speed. It's got different aspects of it because we're using the morph in a different way. We're using the math module in a different way. But anybody who can tell the difference between the two songs, you can hear that the sample is somewhat similar, but the rhythms are different, and the emphasis on the drums is different. And on Sexually Abandoned Love, we brought in the DFAM and added like a kick in to it. So we have that coming in. And then what we're also doing is we're using the grandmother from Moog to do very distorted lead phased sound by using the sample and hold circuit and the modulation oscillator to create very unique distorted capability. And the Moog can do so much without, the major effect on it is the spring reverb, and we use it a lot. We use the ability to use the high pass and low pass filter, ladder filters in sequence. And so there's a lot of interesting stuff going on between the grandmother and then our Euro rack with the Make Noise products, the Morphogene, which we heavily use. We've been using it since we did some Dark Ghost tracks back in the day. And when the Dark Ghost Volume 1 is out there on SoundCloud, the first use of the Morphogene was on If Love Has No Ceiling, Why's My Heart on the Floor? We took a sample of a Phantom Electric Ghost song. We created this kind of really ghostly backward tape loop, which is really cool. The Morphogene allows you to do really interesting kind of George Martin backwards taping loops. And we use it a lot to create that kind of ghostly vibe, kind of gothic feel, and the strangeness of these like distorted kind of spirits that we show up on the Ghost records. And because our whole theme is that we're dealing with phantasms, we're dealing with electric ghosts, and the idea that like the ghost in the machine, I sing the Ghost Electric, that kind of science fiction theme. The Ray Bradbury, Isaac Asimov kind of ideas, Ben Bova ideas. And we bring that into our music. Josephine Electric is a creation of subtractive synthesis. We're using the Roland series of vocoders since it started with the JDXI back on Something Wicked. And then we moved to the VT3 vocal transformer. We've been using the VT4. The VT4 is polyphonic. The VT4 has harmony and better pitch control. You can actually control the note that you're going to pitch on. You can actually set it to a physical note. And it just is, it's more compact, but in some ways we do like the VT3 because it has a scatter. It's monophonic and it has a different tone. So we kind of go back and forth between the VT3 because of the scatter effect that you can use on the VT3. And then we like the harmony kind of capabilities on the VT4 and the fact that it has a polyphonic voice. It adds some depth to Josephine's vocal. We're using a stereo electronics microphone. We do want to, in the next year, get like a higher end microphone, try to get the best microphone we can for the dollar. We're reviewing a lot of microphones. If anybody's got a good choice of a microphone that's like under $500, I think the best microphone for under $500, send us a voice memo or a DM. We're very interested in what you think, especially if you're a musician and you're a home recording in your studio. What is the best bang for the buck for a microphone? Let us know what you think is the best one. And when you tell us, one that we like, we'll let everybody know that we picked your selection. If we go with it. So again, that's a challenge to our listeners. Please send a voice memo, give your Instagram username or Facebook username, and we'll give you a shout out if we pick your choice. The other thing that we're doing with these songs, and I'll let them kind of speak for themselves. All these songs were created with the OPZ and using this kind of sampling thing. So we got Wall Bust Down and Dark Effluent of Love and Sexual Abandoned Love. And these are all might be in a separate EP. One thing we are talking about was like we worked with Kaede Lynn, a poet from Toronto, and we have a bunch of songs we did with her. We're going to put those out. We got approval to put them out. And so that's going to be an interesting spoken word collaboration with the Ghost and Kaede Lynn. So that's going to be cool. I hope I got her name right. She'll probably get mad at me again. The other thing that we're very interested in is the reviews of the Prophet 510 are coming in, and a lot of people, like the fact that it's a bigger keyboard. It's a 61 key keyboard. It's got the full wood body, and the control schemes are really spread apart, and the knobs are big. And one of those things about that is why I like modes. Because if you look at like a Mother 32 and a DFAM and the grandmother and the matriarch, one of the big selling points is on these modes is very clear and easy to control the knob per function, and they're spread out so you don't accidentally hit something wrong. And you're encouraged to actually use all the control surfaces on this Moog as part of the instrument as much as the black and white keys. And so it becomes a part of your playing style when you're playing a Moog to be able to use the controls on the Moog as part of your instrument's, arsenal of tools. When you get synths where all the buttons are too close together or the dials are so close together, it's harder to do that in an accurate way. In the studio, you can do it fine, but in performance, it's harder. So the Prophet 510 brings back that 80s thing why people like the Prophet 5 and the 10s that they were able to get was the fact that you could on stage, have the simple control schema, and you could use all those controls to do live performance. So I would say in terms of live performance, the Prophet 510 is a really awesome machine. It's easy to get into the tones. It's, you can save the tones. It doesn't have the effects of the 6. It doesn't have all the modulation choices and LFOs of a modern Prophet. But the tone of it is so good. It's kind of why you want a matriarch, like why you want a grandmother. It's because the tone of these analog VCOs is just unbelievable. And there's nothing better to me when you're writing progressive electronic music or jazz fusion electronic music is having tones that have life in it instead of like death in it, or tinniness in it, where you have a lot of soft sense. Yeah, they can do a lot, but there's something about my Moog that just cuts through the mix. I love my Rolands. But my Moog grandmother cuts through the mix so heavy, and even my Arturia Mini Brute 2S. The analog signals have a way of cutting through the mix, and it's hard pressed to find a emulator that sounds as good as the grandmother in actuality. So I am leaning toward a Prophet 10, and the reason I would do a Prophet 10 over a 5 is I don't like the voice stealing, and I like to play with both hands as a keyboardist. And when you have a 5, you're going to get voice stealing if you actually start doing more keys than you should. And, it gives you more capability to be able to have full fingered chords and, really good articulation in both hands. If you want to do that level of playing, you can have so many more notes happening. Is why, if you're looking at a Phantom, you can do 256 voices of polyphony. So you can get crazy with all the layers, and that is another choice that I'm looking at. Is the Phantom 7 is like my preferred workstation over a Kronos, because I've been looking at it for years. Back in the day, I always wanted an original Phantom, the ones with the CD drives on them. I used to go to Guitar Center and look at them and lust after them. And now this new Phantom, it looks like a winner with the RD piano, just because I use a lot of piano in my songs, and that's a good point. The CV integration on it, all the ability to have it be your central control schema for your whole workflow and being a DAWless recorder. The Phantom gives me a way to interact with other musicians that are using DAWs. That if I start writing everything in the Phantom, and I still use my Zoom where I want to do things the way I want. For things, for some reason I don't like the workflow on a Phantom, I can just do what I want. And I still would probably use the Zoom to get it to a different, to get it in the format I want. But the fact that I could collaborate with somebody, get their voice, bring it in on a Phantom, track it on a Phantom, and be able to have a grid where I could go in and at the board control it. And then if I link it to like an iPad or to a DAW, I could get into the anal retentive nature of modern digital audio workstation station development, which I don't like to do. I'd rather go punch in, punch out. That's kind of what I like to do. I like to do it on feel. I like to close my eyes and do the song on feel. And to me, the DAW is recording, and a Phantom gets me closer to that because I can kind of do the same thing that I do on my Zoom R24. So it's kind of like a big battle between like a Phantom 7 and a Prophet 10 are in the kind of same price range. And it's kind of like, what do you need? Like I could get a Prophet 10 and I still can record with my Zoom. So I don't actually need the Phantom, but the Phantom would let me connect with people who are using DAWs in an easier way than I do now. And if I want to collaborate more with people, then the Phantom is probably the better choice. If I just want to play in terms of sound generation and create really awesome, soundscapes, having a grandmother and a Prophet 10 is going to give you pretty much everything you need in terms of analog, monophonic and polyphonic sound design. And I understand, the Moog 1 is something you lost after, or even a Prophet X, if you want to get into sample-based stuff more. But a Phantom can do sampling, maybe not as good as a Prophet X. And it's not doing what, a Quantum can do, or what some of these wavetable synths can do, or even what a UDO Super 6 can do. But in terms of sound production, I think the Phantom's going to give you a run for the money on the Cronus and that kind of idea. So I kind of devolved into sound production, but I always get into that. I hope you guys like the latest songs. Josephine's going to get into these songs in a more detailed way on her podcast. I hope you are being safe out there and protect yourself and others. Wearing a mask is not as much for you as it's for your neighbor and your loved ones and strangers out there to not spread the virus. So when we tell you to, be mindful of what you're doing, what we're trying to tell you to do out there, it's your choice if you want to be a jerk. But wearing a mask is not like being able to hold have your right to bear arms. Wearing a mask is because this is a public health threat. It's not an issue of freedom. If this was Ebola, you wouldn't have a choice. If this was like, smallpox, you wouldn't really have a choice. You'd have to follow the government rules. So, in World War II, people sacrificed themselves and they went to, they took on Omaha Beach. All we're asking you to do is be mindful of your surroundings and don't spread the virus. And running around without a mask because you think that represents freedom is a very ignorant interpretation of freedom. You don't have freedom to do anything you want. If you go into a movie theater and yell fire, you'll be arrested. If you can't go in and be naked in a public place. You don't have total freedom anywhere in the world. And being mindful of a very deadly disease and then, just wanting to do whatever you want for selfish reasons, Americans need to be more communal and more respectful of each other and the world and your surroundings and the situation. The problem, I think, with this virus is you don't see it like smallpox. You don't see the outward representation of something like in a science fiction movie. You don't have like a bunch of, you're not turning into a reptile. You're not, turning into some creature. You're not having all these sores all over your body. So no one can see it. And because you can't see it, people are kind of ignorant. If they don't see it, they don't believe it. And I think we got to get past ignorance because there's a lot of things happening today that happened in 1918. And it's like, this is the 21st century. So people need to kind of get a hold of themselves, be less selfish and more self-sacrificing and care about your fellow human being. Do not go to a grocery store without a mask. Don't go into a 7-Eleven without a mask. Don't, do things like go to a bar when you don't need to. You can wait to go to the bar, order drizzly.com and get your stuff at home. Go and have a virtual drink fest with your friend online. Don't be stupid. And if you don't like it, then don't listen to the ghost. But, there's a lot of people in the hospital now that didn't think this was serious, and now it's serious. And they might not make it to the next year. because they didn't have any mindfulness of what's going on. And that's my warning to all those who think that way. And maybe a lot of you, those type of people, wouldn't listen to the show, but for some reason you are one of those people and you listen to the show. Get a hold of yourself and learn to sacrifice like the people did on Omaha Beach. Take one for the team. Wear a freaking mask. Okay, thanks.
It's all about loss, and you hurt me hard in the heart, and at the core wouldn't let me get in bed with the little wretch. Get over death. It's about the loss and the outcome. It's about the heart. Now you got me hard. It's all about the loss and the heart. You got me hard. You're all for now. Got me hard, and it was hard for the night. I come alive. It's all about loss. And my heart, got my nipples hard. And that's the cause. It's all about the loss. You got me caught. And my nipples hard. I could come alive. Fuck a lot. In the parking lot. Yeah, all for naught. You got me hard. It's all about loss of the heart. And my nipples hard. Coming up parking lot with the girl you had not. It's all about loss. And to think I'm a card. And it play me hard. And I get you down. Hard. And you play that card. And you got me caught. And you're playing hard. And you're playing hard. You're playing hard. Got me hard. And you got me lost. You're playing cards. The queen of hearts. And you got me caught. And my nipples hard. You're playing hard. Like you're playing cards. And you broke my heart. It's all about love. And you're playing hearts. Like you're playing cards. And you play a lot. Got my nipples hard. You're playing hard. Like you're playing cards. And you play a lot. It's all about loss. And you play hearts. Like you're playing cards. And you play a lot. You got my nipples hard. put up walls. Can't we just talk it through? You put up walls. I guess the dildo would do if I can't get to you. That's my truth. You put up walls. All I wanna do is you put up walls. Can't we talk it through the walls? I guess the dildo would do. That's my sexual truth. That's my kind of dude. 1 minute with you is all I need. And let it come to the 1 minute. 1 minute with you, that's all I need to cop the truth. Damn walls, and I wanna bust through one of the walls. Gonna ball you, dude, put up walls. Feel the dildo truth deep inside of you. That's the kind of proof. You let me ball, golden down the ball, ball on the wall, let me ball, ball and strong. I draw it on the wall. All I want is you, dog. You put up walls. When I wanna talk to you, you put up walls. And I can't bust through. Wanna talk it through. That's my truth. I guess the dildo won't do. All I want is you. I guess walls. But what you like to do against walls. While you're born there, dude. Wanna talk to you. The dildo won't do. That's my come on truth. Want it all for you. You put up walls. And that's what you like to do. You put up walls. That's the come of fluid is true. Just wanna bust through. Wanna talk to you. But you're too busy balling all those dudes. While you're whoring uptown on screw, while you're boring. Yeah, talking sports with that dude while you're balling. Every type of dude, I wanna talk to you. You won't make it come true. You put up walls. All I wanna do is you to put up walls. Can't wait talk it through when you're talking to that dude. Sports talk full, don't you wanna do a real dude? You put up walls. All I wanna do is you to put up walls. Yeah, well, can't wait talk it through. Come up fluids, dude. Come on, do it too. All your horn around doesn't get you screwed. You put up walls. All I wanna do is you and not the foolish truth. Oh, come on, dude. Come on over you. You're talking sports to those fools when I really wanna screw the walls. And I come bust through and get the walls. And I come over you. That's the honest truth. That's how I want you. You won't come on. Come and make it true. Just 1 minute, dude. Spend an hour with you. Give me 1 minute, dude. Spend an hour with you. Give me 1 minute, true. I wanna come over you. You put up walls. Won't make fantasies come true. And put up walls. You're talking sports to that dude. I'm your come on fool. Come on over you. Don't you wanna make it come true? come busting through, come busting through, ball busting proof, come all over you. You spent 1 minute truth, don't wanna do what I wanna do, fantasy won't come true. You don't spend 1 minute truth, won't tell me no, won't tell me anything about you. You spent 1 minute truth, won't tell me anything about you and those dudes. You spent 1 minute, won't tell me the truth. Spend all this time since the ball busting dudes. You put up walls, you won't tell me the truth. You put up walls when you're playing with those dudes. The whore around truth, whore around you. Don't you wanna be with somebody get screwed? Is this the God honest truth? I want to do you, I do all your dudes. That's the ball busting truth. You get your whore around town, gonna lay it down. Don't you know Josie wants you now? If the God honest truth wants prove you, or do all your dudes at the ball busting truth. You put up walls, if the God honest truth. You spend 1 minute, you won't tell me the truth. It's the ball busting truth. I'll do all your dudes, come on over you, and that's the fluid truth. You spend 1 minute, dude, ball busting truth. Wanna spend all my time coming over you. You put up walls, that's the God honest truth. Put up walls, I wanna ball bust the truth. I couldn't do it with you, dudes, come all over you. Make sure you know that Josie's brand new. A sexual oblivion kiss equal to influence that drips from your rotating hips, equal to the depths of erotic kiss. A sexual oblivion diss equal to influence that drips from rotating hips in the depths of your fluent kiss. The tongue that drips, the influence of bliss. The tongue that drips, the influence of bliss. Tongue that drips, influence of lips. The tongue that drips, the influence of rotating hips. The cum on her lips, equal to cum on her tits. A sexual oblivion diss equal to the cum of influence kiss. A sexual oblivion diss equal to the cum of influence that drips from violently shaking hips and your black and blue lips. influence, erotic bliss. I know much of this. Your hands on my tits, your lip gloss on my lips, stains your rotating hips. Come up, influence drips from the erotic back of bliss. Come up, influence drips from the erotic diss. And you know much of this, like the cum that drips from your lips, cum that drips from your tits, and the tongue that drips from a kiss. The result of erotic bliss, you're having none this. And your love of black and blue lips is equal to erotic bliss of a trick. The fuck like this drips from the effects of erotic bliss. Come on your lips with the result of erotic hips. The come on your tits with the result of erotic hips. Come on your lips is the result of erotic bliss. Come on your lips is the result of erotic bliss.